What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are on the second official afterthoughts. Rich, what's going on? We just filmed our episode on the JFK and Lee Harvey Oswald ordeal that happened in the 1960s.
Right.
So, how do you think the episode went?
I thought it went pretty well. I don't want anybody to. I don't want to put any bias on what my feeling may be.
Sure.
About that case, and what I'm talking about bias is there's been 1,500 to 2,000 books and articles written about the Kennedy assassination, and 95% of them have to do with a conspiracy.
Right.
And I didn't try in the episode we filmed today. I did not try to convince anybody that there is a conspiracy. I want our watchers, viewers, to make their own decision based on what they've heard, what they've seen, what they've read. Make your own decision, and we'd like to hear that in comments on what you think. Do you think that Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone assassin? Do you think that others were involved, either directly? Was there more than one assassin? Do you think he had involvement with organized crime, as suggested by several books? Do you think he had something to do with the CIA, as described by other books? Do you think he was a Soviet spy?
Right.
Because he spent time in Russia.
Well, the thing is, like, with the whole Soviet thing, and if you guys have questions, ask them now. This is totally your time to ask us what your questions are. I have the live chat right here. So this is the point to communicate with us, and we can answer your questions directly. It could be about the Lizzie. It could be about a totally different episode. It could just be, hey, thank you, and we'll respond. But for me, like, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, like, if I was the Soviets, personally, I would have rathered had JFK in office, where peace is a potential. I think that JFK was the best option for the Soviets. I don't know. That's just kind of...
Well, in retrospect, yes. But remember that there was a lot going on at that time. We just got through the year before with the Cuban Missile Crisis. We were nose to nose with the Soviets. They were putting missiles which had nuclear capability on the island of Cuba, 90 miles off Key West.
Right.
And we took that, President Kennedy took that as a direct threat. We sent aircraft over to surveil them.
Sure.
Russian technicians and probably Russian troops doing that. One of our planes that flew over was shot down.
Now, that was a U-2 plane that got shot down, and I've heard that there was a theory that...
Don't confuse the Gary Powers U-2 aircraft with what happened in Cuba.
Oh, it's separate?
Those are separate incidents.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
That are
definitely
years
mistaken.
apart.
Right, okay. So maybe I'm a little off in that. But what I was referencing was around the time that Harvey went to the Soviet, was that the same time that the aircraft was shot?
That was... Lee Harvey Oswald was in Russia at about the time that the U-2 Francis Gary Powers was shot down over the Soviet Union.
So
in the late 50s.
So maybe that's what I'm referencing, because in preparation for this, there was so much info that got flooded, and I had to kind of, there's years of info that I had to separate and learn about. But from what I heard was that, like, one of the biggest, like, theories was that, like, he was using his radar info and stuff like that to assist the Soviets in helping shoot down these U-2 planes. That was one of the theories that I had come up with.
That theory's been out there.
Yeah.
The theory's been out there for 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
That indeed he worked on radar. It was alleged that he was stationed at a place where there were U-2 aircraft,
Sure.
surveillance aircraft, which they're still using today, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Here we are, an aircraft that was developed in the 1950s. Here we are in 2025. And
It's like the M16s.
And
Like, yeah.
exactly. We're using airplanes that have the technology, the initial technology of developing the plane, which was to fly high, 75,000 feet and above,
Wow.
but relatively slow, didn't break the sound barrier or anything like that. And we're still using that aircraft today.
Yeah.
It probably is not the same aircraft that was built back in 1955.
Oh, I'm sure that there are inner
But
mechanics. The shell of it is relatively.
Exactly. It's the same design. It's been updated while all kinds of avionics that are more modern with computer technology and things like that. It's got a smart screen on it now rather than
Oh yeah.
needles and gauges.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
You know, it was funny. I had heard that the pilot, what do you call it? The pilot headsets in their masks that they have to wear are like $750,000. Yeah. That's what they cost to produce and stuff like that because they have all the gauges on it and whatnot.
it's projected right onto the inside visor.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Right. But yeah, no, it's this case in particular is.
So in 1962, and in the middle of all of this crisis, the prediction that the world is going to end because we're going to go toe-to-toe with the Soviet Union. They're bringing missiles to Cuba, and we're going to try to stop them by blockading the island. That's right around the time I got married.
Really?
And we were extreme. The nation was paranoid that something was going to happen because I was brought up in a generation that they taught us in school what to do if an atomic bomb goes off outside the school. Stop, drop, and cover.
Yeah.
There was a little cartoon that they showed us with a turtle.
Wow.
With a helmet on. So he dropped and he tucked into his shell and he covered. And that was going to protect him. That's what they taught us. You got to get under your desk, cover up, and that would protect you.
Wow. Well, it would just protect you from random debris that's flying all over the place.
What we said was, and I don't know if you want to edit this out or not.
I don't know.
You can't. It's live. We said that we had a little poem that said, "Put your head between your knees and kiss your ass goodbye."
Yeah.
Because that's what it seemed to us. We saw the aftermath of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, films from World War II. That was absolute devastation. And if this were to happen in our hometown, we expected that our hometown would look like Nagasaki did.
Oh, yeah.
What Hiroshima looked like. Just complete devastation. And here they are trying to tell us to get under your desk and cover your head and you're going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. It was a paranoid time.
Yeah.
And so when this Cuban Missile Crisis came up in '62, it was paranoia all over again because the generation who had been brought up to stop, drop, and cover was now experiencing this could be Armageddon.
Right.
And the good things that came out of the Cuban Missile Crisis were conversation between the Soviet Union and the United States, conversation between Nikita Khrushchev, who was premier of the Soviet Union, and President Kennedy. A hotline that went between two countries so they could just pick up the phone and talk to each other.
Yeah.
All because of the aftermath of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I had heard that the Khrushchev, he essentially their election in or what do they have? They have presidents in Soviet Union. Yeah. It's the same. Yeah. The election, him withdrawing from Cuba, cost him that presidency.
Well, I'm sure it did, especially with the hard line. Yeah. With the hardline communists that were running the country, at the time that put him at risk. His son came to the U.S. and was a teacher, I believe, at
Wow,
Brown
really?
University.
Huh.
That was an interesting time. And just a year and a month later, John Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas.
Yes. That's what we covered today.
Yeah, what we covered today, November of 63. So that was just a year and a month after the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
So things happened. All right, it was an interesting time. And as you and I discussed during that little chat that we had about Oswald and Kennedy, that the world changed on
absolutely,
on that November afternoon.
right there. Yeah, because I had seen that Castro, whom the CIA went to great lengths to assassinate,
Oh yeah,
like great lengths. How many assassination attempts were there? Do you know? Like,
I don't know, but one of them involved a cigar,
yeah. I like
an exploding cigar.
that's insane to me. Because I smoke my cigars like every so often. I have a couple in my humidor in the guest room. That but it's just that's so crazy to me. Just boom, wow, so crazy. But yeah, no, I'd heard that he was a fan of, not a fan, but maybe excited, for lack of a better phrase, to work with Kennedy to try to put this all behind him. But as soon as Kennedy was assassinated, that kind of everything changed with the relationship that Kennedy would have.
And it never recovered until Gorbachev was in office, and his relationship with President Reagan, which was a big time of easing tension. This is when the Soviet Union disassembled and the Berlin Wall was finally torn down between East and West Germany, and Germany became reunited. This was back in the early 90s.
Sure.
And
this is recent, like very recent. Yeah.
And here we are going through another cycle where the former Soviet Union, now basically Russia, we're back to an adversarial role with them. And I think that's the nature of what goes on in their particular country as far as succession of power and things like that. Their structure is a lot different than ours.
Oh, sure.
In other words, it might not be the popular vote that gets you elected.
It's what, from what I've gathered, it's what keeps the oligarchy happy.
Exactly.
And it's the same within the United States too.
Well, it's all about the dineros.
Yeah, it is.
Every country, it's all about the dineros.
And something that I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about was the United States and how it works. And I believe that the United States has its own oligarchy, which is the millions and billionaires within the country. And because they are, you have to keep them happy, because who's going to make a 20, 30-year bet on a country which power changes every 4 years? Right. So I feel like, yes, the face of the presidency changes, but the internal workings of the government stays the same.
Did you get anything on your screen?
I got no comments right now, so I think I might call this, but I'll give it another minute. If you guys want to ask us a question, feel free to do so right now.
Here we are.
Yep.
And it's Saturday.
Yeah. So, what do you want to plan for next?
I'm thinking we want to do something in a week and a half on the Lizzie Borden case.
Yes, definitely.
And I would like to do something different, something we haven't talked about. You know, we talked about her early years, her and her sister Emma's early years, before the tragedy, before August 4th. We did that whole thing about how Lizzie was a normal person, and Emma might have been a little bit on the odd side.
Right. I've seen a lot of comments saying that Emma was actually the killer.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of comments on that.
That's, she could be the killer if it all happened in 2025.
Right.
Because of accessibility to get from where she was back to Fall River and then back to where she was.
Right.
You could do that today in 10 or 15 minutes. But things were so much different then. The major transportation was train, and that ran on a schedule, and you just couldn't go to the station, hop on the train, because you had no idea whether it was going to be there or it wasn't going to be there. And to come from Fairhaven, where she was staying with friends, to go back to Fall River, commit the crime, and then go back to Fairhaven by horse and buggy would have been, first of all, it would have been noticed.
Right.
By someone with a horse and buggy in broad daylight at 9 o'clock in the morning. It would have been difficult.
Oh, I'm sure.
She was in Fairhaven to receive the telegram that came from Dr. Bowen on the day of the crime. And that was dated about 11:35. He sent the telegram to Emma. Didn't tell her what was going on. Said, "Come back. Something serious has happened." And so she came back. She did not get back to Fall River till later on in the afternoon.
Right. Yeah. We just got a positive comment from Mo Subs. So Mo Subs, thank you. He says
Thank you very much.
Says he loves the Borden content. So there will be a Borden marathon on August 4th on the anniversary. It'll be the collection of all the episodes that we've put together for the Lizzie case that will be released. And I might even do a little bit of a watch party with that. That'll be a few hours though, because you get the first, the second, and then the third episode that we're looking to film pretty soon. That'll be like a whole marathon episode.
Well, I'm getting ready for the next one, which is going to be the autopsies and the funeral, which is a story unto itself.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that'll be a whole.
You wouldn't believe the content and what happened and how it was done and how they suspected that there was poison involved because nobody could be hacked up like the Bordens unless they were unconscious. So somebody in the medical community thought that maybe they were poisoned first.
Wow.
And then they were hacked up to cover up the poisoning.
That's crazy.
So how do you find out? Well, they had their ways back then. On the very first day, they removed the two stomachs of both victims, put them in glass-sealed jars, and shipped them off to Harvard University. Mm-hmm. And they were tested. The contents were tested for poison, and they both came up negative. But the interesting part was when they did the content examination of the two victims, they knew that they both had breakfast at 7 to 7:15 in the morning, and they both had the same breakfast. So the contents of the two stomachs were similar but different.
Yeah. Because
one of the persons had lived 2.5, 2.25 to 2.5 hours longer than the other.
That's crazy.
So that the digestion was 2.5 hours
Advanced.
more digested. And they could tell by looking at these two samples of the contents of the stomach. And we're talking 1892.
That's crazy.
So
wow.
It isn't like they were living in the dark ages back then.
Right.
They used the technology that they had. They shipped those stomachs off pronto.
Yeah.
As soon as they removed them, put them in sealed jars, and shipped them off to Harvard by train.
Wow.
So they arrived at Harvard the next morning.
Wow.
So they could be examined.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an interesting gory.
That's kind of like a little sample of what's coming.
A little tidbit of what the gore and we're going to be talking about in our next Borden episode.
But I think that's gonna kind of call it. I just like to do these little quick,
Yeah, it's fun.
little afterthoughts, just kind of gather everything. But I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for the positive comments, and we are out of here. Have a good one. This episode about the Kennedy assassination will drop tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. I will see you guys later. Have a great one. Bye.